Hi, Nai Jia. It's good to see you again. Hi, TK. Yes. Oh, I'm so hungry. Well, we are at the right place. This is the Grand Dunman show flat, and we are smack in District 15. This project is by SingHaiyi Group and CSCLandGroup. 1,008 unit development. Yeah, I keep thinking about the katong laksa, the prawn noodle. That's right. And a lot of hawker fare in the old airport road food center as well as the Dunman Road Center, which is minutes walk from the Grand Dunman. Yeah, and I like to work in the cafes. It's very quiet, it's very quaint, and I have my coffee and doing my work. That sounds like chilling and working at the same time. Yes. The private residential property market has been resilient despite the pandemic. And, the geopolitical tensions around us and rising interest rates. What is it that is actually bolstering the market? What we are finding is that many of these buyers are actually benefiting from intergenerational transfer of wealth. So they can actually afford such homes. And that is why, despite, the cooling measures that the government has recently implemented, people are still buying, and most of them are buying in the 2 to 3 million price range. So, Nai Jia, given the more challenging market environment these days, Singaporeans literally have what we call a single bullet for property investment. And this is also because we are in the aftermath of a spike in ABSD rates. So, property seekers will have to be selective as to what they will invest in. And when we think about perfect home, usually there are 3 key categories. First, the location matters a lot. You see that they are always focused on certain areas, mature estates, places with a very clear cultural identity and many amenities, such as schools, lifestyle amenities like the park. These are very important attributes. So, Nai Jia, talking about education, I know Kong Hwa Primary, for example, a much sought after primary school, is actually less than 1 km away from the Grand Dunman's location. Yes. And so this is fine, isn't it? For families with school-going children who are seeking to go into a sought after primary school. If we are talking about, progressing from primary school to secondary school education, there are actually 9 other secondary school and junior colleges in the vicinity, and also 4 international schools right around this location. Yes, and when you think about accessibility, right, it is the key part in how we analyze home prices. That is why when we look at District 15, their price point has been very sticky over time. You don't see them having major corrections over time. And it's a very attractive place to a lot of the buyers across the east side and also the west side. And the best part is, when you see most of the buyers, they all stay in District 15. In other words, they don't really want to leave this district. Right. So, Nai Jia, precisely, we are talking about the whole concept of live, work, and play. Yeah. And for the play aspect, property seekers want to do retail therapy as well. So they don't just want to be staying at home all the time, and they can get out, and when they do, the connectivity of this development all the way to Suntec City, for example, which is linked to Marina Square, which is further linked by City Link to Raffles City, they are open to 2 million square feet of retail space for them to do their shopping and some other F&B experience as well. And the heritage that we talk about these days is becoming more and more important. Oh, that's right. Definitely in District 15, there is a identity here, right? Yeah. The Peranakan culture. Yes. And the best part is because nowadays, people treasure that kind of social interaction. When we have that interaction, usually we want a place that is quaint, quiet, where you can sip your coffee. And that kind of places that we see a lot of such social interactions are usually in these heritage areas. I have a point to add to that, because if you are working, right, certainly there will be many professionals who are buying a unit for themselves in the Grand Dunman when it launches, and I will be thinking about commuting to work. So if I work at Suntec or Raffles City, for example, is literally 5 MRT stops away. And that means that I can get to work in the shortest possible time, beating all the peak hour jam.
Yeah, and not only that, we see growing clusters like, Paya Lebar Quarters area. That is a new vibrant area, and that is such a short distance to this development. The other one is the Changi Business Park. Recent news has shown that the aviation industry are doing extremely well, recovering from the pandemic, and they are recruiting many people. And the other thing is that accessibility is very key. Now, in this area, this covers very well because its proximity to the airport, its proximity to the CBD, it is perfect in terms of rental yield. And the rents here have been rising steadily.
So like, according to our consumer sentiment study, post-pandemic, property seekers are actually looking for larger units. We're talking about the 2 and 3 bedders in general. And they are also looking for accommodation near amenities. What do you think are other essential attributes that property seekers will look for in a development?
One of the very key attributes I feel is really the flexibility of the layout.
You're talking about the ability to customize use within your apartment.
Right. So that's why we see more and more households or property seekers looking for larger units. And one of the key reasons is this, because now remote working arrangements are likely to be a permanent, so space becomes very critical. The other thing that is very critical is that I think there's a greater emphasis on the finishes. In the past, we would say that, people don't spend that much time at home. But now it's different. People spend a lot more time at home. They look at their finishes. Suddenly, maybe they want better finishes.
That's right.
People actually place an emphasis on the quality of things like, the taps, the kind of stove, to make sure they work well for a very long time. Yes. The other thing that I think people are very concerned about is the rising cost of electricity. So people are looking at ways like, how can this development help to reduce energy usage?
So that reminds me that in Grand Dunman, there are solar panels actually provided for some part of the development, and that will help bring down electricity costs.
Yes. Moving from that, the other very key thing is that people are more concerned about the quality. BCA has stepped in to come up with a banding score to rank developments and rank developers. So those that are ranked at the contrabanding 1 are actually of higher quality.
And is that SingHaiyi Group and CSCLandGroup as well?
Yes.
Okay. Nai Jia, in the midst of this uncertain environment, buying a property certainly carries risk.
Yes.
How do a property seeker mitigate that risk and future-proof for himself or herself this investment?
Now, when we think about risk, right, it's always how do we best prepare against the downsides of the market. So one of the key strategies that we have seen buyers mitigating risk is to go towards places that have a strong track record of strong price performance. So usually I would say that a common risk mitigation strategies, especially amid this uncertainty, is to go for districts that are known to be private residential home enclaves, because people tend to flock back to here when things are not looking as well as it should be. Now, the other way is that when we look at different developments, they obviously have different variations. Amenities, facilities within the development become very key and important. The quality of the development plays an important part in helping preserve the value of the home. So that is another risk mitigation strategies that people can actually adopt.
So before we go for lunch, Nai Jia, I just want to share with property seekers out there that the Grand Dunman show flat has officially launched. Please visit the show flat and see for yourself if this is the choice home you wish to invest for your future.